Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
From raising the age to buy a gun to 21 to mental health and school safety funding, we break down the biggest pieces of the newly agreed upon gun control bill that has bipartisan support. Plus, RMTD is set to upgrade its outdated downtown bus depot, but a neighboring church says not so fast. Their biggest concerns as RMTD personally makes their case to the congregation. And it's hard to miss this bright pink fire truck. That's kind of the point. It serves as a beacon of hope for those fighting against diseases. Good evening, I'm Marissa Lessner. Thanks for joining us tonight. For weeks, a bipartisan group of senators went back and forth on a new gun reform bill. Today, they struck a deal. This all comes as the nation reels from a string of mass shootings. If passed, Eyewitness reports it'll be the most significant action Congress has taken on gun safety in decades.
A bipartisan group of senators announcing on Sunday it's reached a general agreement on new gun legislation. It's an agreement in principle and not legislative text. The details of the deal will be critical for Republicans, particularly the firearms-related provisions. 20 senators, including the 10 Republicans necessary to avoid a filibuster, released a statement on Sunday, saying in part, "Today we are announcing a common-sense bipartisan proposal to protect America's children, keep our schools safe, and reduce the threat of violence across our country." Included in the agreement, further funding for mental health, incentives for the creation of so-called red flag laws, increased funding for school safety, and strengthening the federal background check system. For buyers under 21 years of age, the deal would require an investigative period to review juvenile and mental health records. In a statement, President Biden saying, "Obviously it does not do everything that I think is needed, but it reflects important steps in the right direction." The House has been working on more sweeping actions on gun reform, but those measures would likely fail in the Senate. Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin telling CNN this deal is a baby step he would vote for.
It's moving in the right direction. We're glad that the Senate is finally awake about this.
News of this agreement coming just one day after hundreds of thousands marched in cities across the country calling for tougher gun legislation.
We're not taking people's guns away. We're just saying nobody should have military-style weapons to be able to go into schools and kill huge numbers of kids within just minutes.
March for Our Lives founder David Hogg, a survivor of the 2018 Parkland school shooting, reacting to the deal, tweeting, "This is progress, even if small. Even if it stops one Parkland, it's worth it." Eyewitness, ABC News, Washington.
Rockford police search for a gunman behind a shooting this morning. It happened at 11:30 on Johnston Avenue, just southwest of Auburn and Central. The victim is expected to be okay. Investigators went door to door asking neighbors if they saw anything. No word yet on what led up to that shooting. Fed up with violence around the country and here at home, a local community group wants to come up with solutions. The League of Women Voters of Greater Rockford will host a gun violence prevention forum. The public can share their ideas with a panel that includes the mayor, the Rockford police chief, and Winnebago County State's attorney. It'll be held on Tuesday at Second First Church on North Church Street from 6 until 8 p.m. The Red Cross helps a Rockford family after fire breaks out at their home. This happened around 8:30 last night on Grant Avenue, just south of Williams Park. The damage was contained mostly inside. We're told the family came home and found smoke coming through the second floor windows. Firefighters quickly arrived and put it out. They even rescued the family's 2 pet hamsters. The fire started in a bedroom, but crews are still looking into how. No one was hurt. As the Rockford Mass Transit District moves toward becoming more green, a nearby church worries about its elderly members being able to easily access the church. RMTD received a $16 million grant from the state earlier this year to upgrade its aging infrastructure and install charging stations for electric buses. Those charging stations are set to be installed in a city parking lot right across from Court Street United Methodist Church. While not all of the parking lot will be used for buses, the church worries its members won't have enough parking for Sunday services, and its elderly members will have to park farther away. Today, RMTD's executive director was at Court Street UMC to answer questions from the congregation.
Certainly we want to be good neighbors and ensure that we hear from our neighbors about what their concerns are and try to alleviate those as best as possible by ensuring that we take into consideration obviously the needs that they have here, and parking here is an important one when they're having services here, and I think we've balanced that with our project plans.
RMTD says this expansion project is badly needed for the 35-year-old facility. It was built to house 40 vehicles and currently has a fleet of close to 80. A pink fire truck, along with all sorts of other big trucks, take over a Freeport parking lot, giving us all a reminder about hope and the power of a smile. Pink Hills of Stevenson County had Jessica on display. She's this pink fire truck. People are invited to sign their names in honor of those who are battling cancer and other catastrophic diseases. The truck is named after a local woman. There were also bucket trucks, ambulances, police and army vehicles, and race cars. The group hopes its truck reminds people that every day is a gift.
It is so important to teach kids the meaning of hope and love and understanding. The meaning of giving a smile and a hug to someone who thinks that they are all alone in their journey of beating cancer or going through a catastrophic disease.
There was also an hour set aside for children with special needs where they could come and see and touch the trucks in a quieter, calmer environment. Welcome back. Those on Social Security could get as much as $130 extra on their checks next year. But for those who are still a few years away from cashing in themselves, Basil John reports it might not be there. Eyewitness News keeps you connected to the nation's capital.
Experts say without changes, by 2035, Social Security won't be able to pay full benefits.
What I think most people want is more than 13 years.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders believes the change should be increased funding.
Our job, in my view, is not to cut Social Security, is not to raise the retirement age, as many of my Republican colleagues would have us do.
Sanders introduced legislation to fully fund Social Security for the next 75 years by raising taxes on high-income individuals.
If you are a multi-billionaire, you pay the same amount of money into Social Security as someone who makes $147,000 a year.
But Republicans, like South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, believe Sanders' plan will never pass.
We're going to need more revenue. But if you think taxing the wealthy is going to save Social Security, you're wrong.
Graham argues that raising taxes will not receive bipartisan support. Utah Senator Mitt Romney echoed this message and says Sanders' bill will be a non-starter for every Republican in the House and the Senate.
The idea is to have people come together, Republicans and Democrats, to see if we can find a solution. If we don't do that, we will not save Social Security.
Experts say for the future of Social Security, acting sooner rather than later is the right thing to do. Reporting in Washington, I'm Basil John.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, we were able to make most out of our Sunday afternoon after some clouds and fog greeted us here earlier today. We're starting to see a little more cloud cover move in. A live look with our Marcel Skytrack camera now out in Freeport at the Park Hills Golf Course. We've had more of an easterly wind now that a cold front has actually passed to the south of us. That will help bring in a little more dry air. You notice once the sun came out today, it got a bit on the muggy side. Our dew point temperatures were in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. So we had quite a bit of moisture out there, which actually brought that heat index factor up. We're still at 78 in Rockford, 76 in Freeport, 74 now in Monroe, and 77 our current temperature in Janesville, down in Rochelle. We will actually see those numbers drop into the 50s here tonight. It'll likely be our last window open night because things are going to turn not only a little more stormy for Monday afternoon, but also the potential for some dangerous heat coming up these next several days. 77 for our weather watcher Jim here on the southwest end of Rockford, 64 that dew point, 75 right now for Beth. then in South Beloit had just under 1/10 of an inch of rainfall. We have been mostly dry this afternoon following some showers that did come through earlier today, kind of expanding the view. Things are fairly quiet, but we turn our eyes out to the west because out to the west is our next storm system starting to take shape, and that could allow a fairly significant storm system to impact parts of the area tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. This gets a little complicated for tomorrow, so let's try to kind of work this out here. Warm front, or I should say cold front, that came through today will try to be pulled back north as a warm front tomorrow. That is going to play key into kind of where this next storm system comes to play. Scenario number one, we got a complex of thunderstorms that developed to the northwest late tonight over the plains. Those kind of weaken but then strengthen once they hit Minnesota, Iowa, and parts of Wisconsin late tomorrow morning. If this stays mostly to the north of us and moves to the east, it means a lot of us here in northern Illinois are going to be rain-free for the most part tomorrow. However, if we start to see that complex of thunderstorms dive more to the southeast, this is really going to increase a wind threat for tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow early evening, really anytime after about 1 o'clock tomorrow. Notice this could actually be a significant wind threat during the early afternoon. That would be riding right along that warm front if it doesn't pull far enough north in Wisconsin. That then moves out. We start to get that warm air to come in tomorrow night into Tuesday. Tuesday morning temperatures will be starting off in the 70s. That helps springboard us into the upper 90s for most of us on Tuesday afternoon, and that heat index well in the triple digits, and that heat continues on into Wednesday. So that severe risk for tomorrow, we do have that slight risk for all of northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin. Biggest impact right now, if we see that complex of storms move in, would be wind followed by hail and then tornado. Then we've got the heat to talk about. Look at that heat index on Tuesday. For all of us, 105 to 110. On Wednesday, that heat index 101 to 106. So dangerous heat coming up here for these next several days. So temperatures tonight down to about 57, 85 for tomorrow. It is going to feel muggy tomorrow, especially south and southwest of Rockford. All of us on Tuesday, Wednesday, we get a cold front that comes in, rids us, Marissa, of some of that humidity, but we keep that heat. Temperatures will stay in the 80s and dry through the end of the week.
Now sports with sports director Scott Leber.
The last thing the White Sox need right now is another key player going down with an injury, but that's exactly what happened today at Guaranteed Rate Field where they hosted the Rangers. A player, starting pitcher Michael Kopech, first inning facing his third batter, he came up lame. He had discomfort in his right knee. After a powwow on the mound, the umpires let Kopech throw a warm-up pitch to test the knee, and you see by his reaction, it wasn't good. Kopech was done, and he had been pitching so well lately. In his last start last Tuesday, he held the Dodgers to 1 hit in 6 innings. And the Sox trailed 3-1, bottom of the 7th, bases loaded, and Andrew Vaughn chops one. It goes off the glove of Rangers first baseman Nathan Lowe. 2 runners scored. The game was tied at 3, but right now they're in extra innings. The Rangers have just taken the lead 8-6 in the 12th. Here are some of the key White Sox currently on the injured list. Pitchers Lance Lynn, Vince Velasquez, and Joe Kelly. Shortstop Tim Anderson and Eloy Jimenez. So we'll see if Kopech's knee injury will land him on the IL. Fortunately for the Sox, they get Lance Lynn back this week. All right, how bad was the Cubs pitching today in New York? So bad that of their 5 pitchers who took the mound, their best one was first baseman Frank Schwindel. Top of the first inning, Ian Happ had some serious launch angle for the Cubbies. Hopefully we'll get to those highlights. It is 7th home run of the season. And it was, and there we go. Here's Ian Happ launching that ball out of there. Sky one for the solo home run, his 7th of the season, but the Cubs needed a lot more of those to keep pace with the Yankees. Bottom of the first, Joey Gallo rips one into the right field corner off Cubs starter Keegan Thompson. 2 Yankees scored. The Yankees led 5-1. Matt Carpenter was mashing for New York. 2 home runs for him in the 2nd inning and here in the 6th inning, and the Yankees led 12-3. By the 8th inning, it was 17-4, so Frank Schwindel moved from first to the mound to mop up, and what a lollipop of a pitch. Kyle Higashioka all over it for the solo home run. That was the only one that Schwindel gave up in his 1 inning on the mound. The Cubs lost 18-4. It's a beautiful day for baseball in Beloit, but the Sky Carps game against Wisconsin didn't happen. It was postponed due to minor league baseball's health and safety protocols. In other words, one of the teams has a COVID issue. On the Stanley Cup Finals set, it'll be the Lightning facing the Avalanche. The Lightning earned their way in by finishing off the Rangers last night. The Lightning will be going after their third straight Stanley Cup championship. No NHL team has done that since the Islanders won 4 straight in the early 80s. The Avalanche will be going for their first Cup championship since 2001. You'll be able to see every game of the Cup Finals here on WTVO. The first game will be Wednesday night. Now, tomorrow night on WTVO, it's Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The Warriors and Celtics are tied at 2 games apiece. This game will be played at Golden State, and it'll start at 8 o'clock. The IndyCar guys were racing north of us near Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin at Road America. How good is Joseph Newgarden? He won this race, and here's the thing. He has become the first IndyCar racer this year to win races on an oval, a street course, and now a road course. Because of that, he earned a $1 million bonus. Indy 500 winner Marcus Ericsson finished second. And there's some big news from NASCAR today. They've decided to open next season like they did this season by holding the Busch Light Clash at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. NASCAR's experiment there on the tiny quarter-mile track this year was a hit with the fans, an instant classic, some called it.
Skies will stay dry for us tonight. The first warning interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and more, but could get a little more active for tomorrow. Late morning, early afternoon. In fact, the risk for a few stronger thunderstorms are possible, especially during that time on Monday. So we'll need to remain weather aware tomorrow. Then we have dangerous heat coming up for Tuesday, Wednesday. A break from that by the end of the week.
That's it for us. Have a great night.